Okay, this week we're going to install a set of Tanabe NF10 lowering springs on the Project Versa. First thing I need to do is be able to lift it up, rest it on jack stands, take the wheels and tires off, and we'll put my jack underneath under the rear axle. Okay, you can see the Versa is up on the jack stands, and I now have my low profile jack underneath the rear axle. I do have a piece of wood between the jack and the axle, that way it will prevent scratches. Next thing to do here is just slightly have the jack against the axle, just lightly pressure lifting it, that way there's no tension on the rear shocks. I need to take the rear bolts out on the lower half, that way the shocks will be free and the axle can be lowered down. Now as you're doing this, there's going to be slight tension on the bolt. You can just lightly adjust your jack up as you need to, just to relieve the tension on the bolt. It should come out in your hand pretty easily. Just like that. Now to do the other side. Okay, now before we take the spring out and lower the axle, all these connections here are going to be in tension, so what I want to do is all the rubber grommets, I'm going to slightly take those out here, all these connections, that way they're going to be nice and loose on both sides. That way when I lower it down, everything's not going to have tension on it and it will be free. This is your sensor for your rear ABS and your brake system, and you don't want that to fail or the wires get pinched. Once I do the other side, I'll get ready to lower it down. Okay, now with the shocks free of the axle and all the harnesses loose so I can lower the axle, I'm going to lower the axle slowly, and as you do that, right now the springs are under a little bit of tension. They're going to slowly relax, and then you'll see them be free. Once they're free, I want to take the springs and the upper and lower bushing out. That way I can inspect the bushings also while they're out. Okay, now that you have your bushings out, just take the time and slightly bend them around, see if there's any cracks in them. If you have a lot of miles on your car and you'll notice a lot of cracks, this will start wearing where the suspension's not going to operate very well. Just look for any cracks in it. If they're good to go, you might just give them a slight wash, clean all the dirt off if you want to. That way prevent some noise, some suspension noise, and we'll put the springs back in. Okay, now I've got the rear mount here just wiped out, cleaned out all the dirt. If you notice, there is a slight tab here, or nipple, what you want to call it, and it's going to go into this here. That way this is directional. If you have trouble, you can reach below, pull it, make sure it fits in there nice and snug. Now the spring can go in. And you want to make sure the end down here fits in the groove. It's nice and snug. You can rotate it up to the top here into the bushing, and then you want to make sure this bushing is already kind of from use, has an impression, so I'm going to rotate this around until it fits, and that way it fits in there nice and snug. You can see the impressions right up through here. That way it'll fit. Once I do that, get the springs in, I just need to lift the rear axle and get it to. Okay, now I've got my jack lifted up roughly in place. I can put my bolt back in. I just need to fit it on. If I need to, I can adjust my jack a little bit. Put the bolts back in. And then once I've got it threaded, I'll get it tightened down. Okay, now that I've got the springs all in, the bushings are set, I've actually put in my ABS harness. I've connected those back to the rear axle. I've now lifted the jack by the axle, and I've lifted it to where the vehicle actually comes up off the jack stands. This puts it in what's called unladen condition, so that the suspension is actually what is supporting the car versus the jack stands. In that condition, you'll want to torque these bolts down to 91 foot-pounds or 124 newton-meters. Once you have both of those done, you can then put your wheels and tires back on. We're finished with the rear. We're going to move on to the front.